Hi friends, welcome back. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas, and I'm so happy that we're all back at school again and ready to learn and have fun together. So this month, we are going to spend some time learning all about a special piece of music called Peter and the Wolf. Now, Peter and the Wolf is a very famous orchestral piece of music, which means that it's usually music played by an orchestra, which is a group of instrumentalists that play lots of different kinds of instruments. And in this music, it tells a story. It's a story about a little boy and a bunch of animals. And instead of making regular animal sounds, like you might hear a crow cawing in the distance here, each animal is represented by a different instrument. And each time that character is part of the story, they play what's called a theme. And a theme is just the same type of music or melody played over and over again. So today we are going to be introduced to Peter, the main character, and one of the other animals, a bird. And we're going to learn all about the instruments that make their sounds. You're going to learn the lyrics to go along with Peter's part. You're gonna get to get up and dance and move, and we're gonna focus on using our ears to identify different instruments, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna listen to Peter's theme. Now, Peter's theme is played on a violin. And some of you may be familiar with what a violin sounds like and what it looks like, but for those of you who are not, we're gonna learn all about it today. So right now, all I need you to do is turn your listening ears on, and you're gonna listen to Peter's theme. I'm gonna play it twice for you so that you can really hear it, okay? So everybody listen. All right, so now that you've had a chance to hear Peter's theme and listen to what a violin sounds like, I think we need to move around a little bit. So I want everyone to stand up and find some space. You don't need a lot of space, but just enough space to move around. We're going to be skipping in a little circle. And you can skip in a circle all by yourself, or if the whole class wants to skip in one circle around your classroom, you can go ahead and set that up now. Go ahead and pause the video and set that up so you have space to skip around. Okay, I'm also going to be putting up the lyrics to Peter's part up on the screen. So what's gonna happen is the lyrics are gonna be up and you're gonna be able to hear the theme. And so you can go over the lyrics with your teacher. You can sing along if you want to, or you can just skip around. And we're gonna, again, do it twice through because it's really short. Okay, so everybody ready? Here we go. I hope you all had fun doing that. So next what we're gonna do is watch a short video about the violin and how it works, how it produces the sound that you hear whenever Peter has his part in Peter and the Wolf. So it's just a short video, so find your seats again, have a seat and pay attention, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Zsolt Tiame Visontai, and I'm the concertmaster of the Philharmonia Orchestra. I sit at the front of the orchestra and my job is to help the conductor keep the ensemble together and to help communicate the character of the music. The violin is the highest instrument in the string family. In orchestras, the violins are split into two sections. The first violins, who usually have the melody, and the second violins, who often support the first violins with harmony. The sound of the violin is created by making its 4 strings vibrate. The 4 strings, tuned G, D, A, and E, are stretched across the bridge and tuned with the help of pegs at the top and sometimes fine-tuners on the tailpiece. The sound then resonates throughout the wooden body with the help of a small piece of wood inside, called the sound post. Most of the time we use a bow to create sound by drawing it across the strings, like this. The bow is made from wood and horsehair. The horsehair gets coated in rosin, which is a hard resin from trees. The rosin creates more friction between the bow and the strings, which means they vibrate more, making a louder sound. There are many techniques using the bow, and we describe them using Italian and French words. Here are a few. Legato, which means smooth. Staccato, which means separated. Spiccato, which is bouncing or stringy. Tremolo, to tremble. Collegno, literally with the wood, which is a percussive effect. Sul tasto, on the fingerboard, which is light and airy. Or sul ponticello, on the bridge, which is harsh and abrasive. We can also pluck the strings, and this is called pizzicato, which means to pluck or pinch in Italian. It can be very delicate or dramatic and percussive.
All right, so now that you know all about a violin and how to hold it and what it sounds like, we are going to become violinists. And I want everyone to get out your imaginary violin and your imaginary bows. And this time we're going to listen to Peter's theme and we're going to play along with it as if we were real violinists in an orchestra, okay? So get your instruments ready and here we go. So we have learned all about Peter, all about the violin. We know what it sounds like. We've even played our own, right? Now we're going to move on and we're going to learn about the bird that comes to visit Peter in the story. So we're going to do the same thing we did with Peter. This time you're going to listen to the bird's part. And I want you to think to yourself, does it sound like a bird? Would this remind me of a bird flying around? Or what a bird might sound like? So listen closely, and we'll be right back. So the instrument you heard playing the bird was called a flute. A flute is a woodwind instrument that is often played in orchestras. It's a high sounding instrument and you can play it really fast. Did you guys all notice that the bird was flitting around and you could hear the notes changing very quickly, like a bird does when it hops and tweets and stuff? This time when we listen to the music, I want you to be a little bird. You're gonna get up, you're gonna hop and flit your way all around the classroom to the little bird in Peter and the Wolf. Okay, I bet you guessed what's next. We are going to learn all about the flute and how the flute makes its sound. So watch this video and pay attention and see if you can figure out how you would hold a flute if you were in an orchestra.
Hello guys, Colin here. You're probably all aware that this is a flute, and if you blow across the hole at this end, it generates a sound. But the science and technique behind how a flute functions might be a little less obvious. To get an idea of how a flute works, let's take a step back and see what qualifies as a flute. Technically, any instrument where air is blown across an opening to generate a note can be classified as a flute. Flutes can be side-blown, like this orchestral flute, end-blown, like panpipes, or make use of a fipple, which channels air across an opening as seen in recorders. This qualifies even a referee's whistle as a flute. In all these instruments, one thing is common. A stream of air is passed across an opening and directed onto the sharp edge on the other side. This splits the airstream, causing some of it to enter the flute. Interestingly, the airstream doesn't split nicely in half, but it oscillates, sometimes going in and sometimes going out. The oscillating airstream within the flute sets up a standing wave, causing resonance at a frequency dictated by the length of the air column. Longer tubes produce lower notes, and shorter tubes produce higher notes. This can be most effectively demonstrated using panpipes, which use multiple fixed-length tubes to achieve a range of notes. However, by drilling holes at specific lengths along a single tube, we can make the flute achieve multiple notes by using our fingers to cover the holes. This Indian bamboo flute is the simplest form of transverse or side-blown flute. With all the holes open, we achieve the highest note, and by covering them one by one, we can descend down the scale. Flutes aren't just limited to one octave, however. Once we've reached the highest note, it's possible to go higher still by fingering all the holes closed again and increasing the airflow across the embouchure. By increasing the airflow, we force the standing wave inside the flute to double in frequency, raising it by an octave. Moreover, cross-fingering allows easier access to existing notes or to notes that usually aren't accessible. This is achieved by opening holes upstream and leaving the ones downstream fingered. This can be seen in the following example where notes outside the simple scale are achieved by cross-fingering. Keyed flutes like this orchestral flute offer more note options by closing multiple holes using single keys, or by opening or closing holes that would be out of the reach of fingers on a simple keyless flute. Much of the rest of the musical workings of a flute come down to technique. Tonguing is used to add definition between notes and is accomplished by using the tongue to briefly stop the airflow leaving the player's lips. An extension of this is flutter tonguing or trill tonguing, where the player rapidly trills their tongue in order to produce a stuttering sound, which can be used as either a tonal effect or as a rhythmic device. Playing notes in a single stream of air without tonguing produces a smooth legato, and by manipulating the airstream across a sustained note, it's possible to produce vibrato. Some more exotic techniques involve overblowing to the point of getting the flute to squeal and generating a vocal humming note alongside the stream of air to either match or harmonise with the note being played on the flute.
Okay, now we've got a bunch of professional flautists in the room. I hope everybody brought their imaginary flutes with them today. Let's put them together. We'll hold them up, and we're going to pretend to play the bird part to Peter and the Wolf. Ready? Get ready to play along. Well, I hope you all had fun being introduced to the first two characters in Peter and the Wolf today. Like I said, this whole month we're going to be spending time learning about the characters in Peter and the Wolf. We're going to be listening to music and learning all about the different instruments in the orchestra. So we'll be back next week, ready to learn some more. Bye, boys and girls.